Well, back in the shop again. James's Repair Shop. Welcome back, everyone. Well, this is part 2 of the DIY rotisserie build. And I've got one, as you can see right here, one end frame mostly constructed. There's still work to be done to it. Needs a paint job, needs some, right here, these old, if I reach it right there, these old welding scar marks need to be done. What I'm going to do first here, I've made the plates up, and you can see right down in here, down there, there's one of the plates. I have the foot plates on. I'm not done welding them yet. Right here for the casters, rather, the caster plates. And these are 4.5 by 4.5. Now, I'm going to show you the video of making the plates. Not hard. The plates are just cut out of steel, drilling the holes and whatnot. However, it didn't go as smooth as I expected. I'll tell you what happened. I built the caster plates. I 3 at a time, and I'll show you that in the video. I drilled the holes, forgetting the fact that I'm making it 3 and 3. So the holes were actually in the wrong place. The holes were not far enough out to clear the tube. And I did know that, but when I started drilling holes, it just blew my mind. I just don't know what happened. It just totally lost it somewhere. Anyway, so the plates need to be turned sideways, not lengthways. So they're 4.5 inches out this way, sideways, instead of 4.5 inches out and 4 this way. If these were 2.5 inch tubes, it wouldn't have been a problem. No biggie. Oh, that's what I thought was no biggie. So I figured, well, hey, I got my plasma cutter sitting right here. Now that I drilled these holes out, and I'll show you the drilling the holes. So I had the holes drilled out, and I figured, well, I'll use the plasma cutter to trim them out some. Well, my old hands aren't that steady. I guess it's too much working in the underground mining. Hands aren't as steady as they used to be. Anyway, a horrible looking job cutting them out with the plasma cutter. Just terrible. So anyway, I ended up doing the second set of plates. I just drilled a hole beside the other one where they need to be, and then I honed them out with the carbide bit. So that's it. Anyway, but that's not all that's going on. So I'm going to turn you around. I'm going to show you something else. Something I'm not super impressed with. But I'm going to take the blame for it now myself. But if it happens again, I'm not taking the blame for it. And I'm not going to keep spending $100 either every time for this. So I'm going to show you what it is, and you'll understand right away. And I hope the mic is working better. I had issues with the new mic. And again, and I said in the last video, it's not the mic's fault. It's me, how I'm handling it. I'm getting used to having a mic on me. And I had some settings off, and then I had buried it under the apron. What a mess. Anyway, so let me get to the other thing that I'm not impressed with. Okay, here we are. We've got this new Evolution metal cutting chop saw. Now this was a multi-cutting blade, but I have probably only, I don't know, a dozen cuts on this, and the teeth are completely gone. Now, I did notice, and this is my fault, that the blade wasn't tight enough and it was loose. So it was wavering a bit, and I didn't notice it till it got so loose it was spinning. So that's where I think what happened to the teeth. Remember when I got this Evolution, I told you about the Allen key lasting once? Yeah, that's all it lasted once, and it fell apart. So anyway, another issue I noticed with the steel I'm using, some of it is welded with extremely hard welding rods. Now, I don't know what they used on it. Some of it's not bad. Some of it is like, I could almost hardly cut it with a zip cut. My normal zip cuts that usually do mild steel, no problem whatsoever. However, I had run into a couple of these joints that I'm dealing with that were left over from the fab for the cages. They were coverall cages. They were shipping cages for great big coverall tents. And whoever welded them must have run into welding rods at some point or whatever, or they just 2 or 3 people doing the welding. I have no idea, but some of the welds are extremely hard. And I had experienced that in the steel that I'm using right now. So it tells me it's possibly this Evolution hit some of it. because I did cut through some of the old welds, and when I went to try to get those old welds off with the zip cut, I could hardly cut them off. And there's nothing wrong with the zip cuts; they work fine. So it's either me not watching what I'm doing with the blade tightening, or there's the metal. So I'm not blaming the evolution at this point, but I bought a new blade right here. I got a new one, 10-inch blade, Evolution, $100. Gonna give it a whirl. Make sure it's tight. Make sure I don't cut through any of that old steel, those joints. And we'll go from there. If it doesn't last, that's the end of it. I'm not putting any more money into these things. I'll just put a regular blade on and use it for cutting wood. Anyway, so that's done. Got that off my chest. That's been bugging me quite a bit that I had to buy it. So anyway, that held up the project a tiny bit. I pulled my plasma cutter out and cut some of the steel I needed with the plasma cutter, but I really don't like using the plasma cutter. I don't know. That's just me. Again, probably me not having enough experience with it. Anyway, so let's get into the caster pads. Like I said, 4.5 by 4 with holes. Pretty straightforward. I've got them welded on to one of the frames. So let's get into it. So what we're doing here now with this, we're going to do these plates up here. So we've got 6 of these caster plates to do. 4.5 by 4 by 1/2 inch. So I'm going to try to do 3 at a time on the drill press. I'll press them. I will put them together in the vise, and then once I get them kind of sort of equal, I'll weld the edges. I'll just put a bead on each one on the sides, and then I'll be able to take it over to and I'll be able to do 3 at a time. I could probably do all 6 at once, but I think with layers like that, and these aren't perfectly flat, which reminds me I'm going to have to go over them with the grinder and clean up the edges first. So I'll have to do that because this one's got a big wad of metal on it and whatnot. So let me get that cleaned up and the edges cleaned up, and then we'll see if we can press 3 together, give them a bead of weld just to hold them together and lay it out, and we'll go from there. Let's see, I cleaned all 6 up over where you can see it. Took the dross off the edge. Some of these I cut with the zip cut, some I cut with the my plasma cutter, sorry. Get that straightened out. So I'm just trying to piece them together. They're freehand, so they aren't perfect. Let me try that. That looks pretty good. I'll grab another zip cut one. This was zip cut. See if they get them fairly close to being decent in the stack. That looks pretty good there. I mean, this is rough stuff. All I needed is a big enough area. I cut them a little bit oversized, just a shade, but I think that's good. We'll clamp them there in the vise, and then I'll weld them together. First, I'll lay out the pattern. So let me get that done. I'll just use the caster to lay the pattern out. All right, here we are. Like so. That should be good. Should be able to get them all on there. Get off of here. Don't need it up on there. Sort of like so. All right, so I'll get the holes drilled out and we'll go over to the drill press. Holes are drilled in that first set. I drilled the hole 13/32, so it has to be a little larger than 3/8. Got 3 plates made, so I'm going to gear up to the other ones. I won't bother you with all that. just like so. All right, so let me get the other ones lined up and I'll get them drilled out and we'll go from there. There now, we got one frame cleaned up on there. I cleaned up that old scrap stuff. I've got it all welded, all the joints. I think pretty decent. Not the prettiest looking welds, but I'm pretty sure they'll hold up that old Thunderbird. Anyhow, so now a coat of paint. Let it dry, and I'll put the casters on, and we'll tackle the other end frame. There, one coat of paint. The back still needs to be done because it's laying down. I wanted to get the bottom done. That's the reason I have it laying like this. So I wanted to get the bottom and the feet pad done, or the caster pads done. So yeah, that one's once that dries, I'll stand it up and I'll paint the back side of it. Put the casters on it, and there's still, I keep forgetting to put these nuts on. Actually, I don't have any nuts for it. I have to get some 3/4 nuts, but that can be done anytime. A little brush with the grinder, clean that up. But yeah, she'll need another coat, but she's looking pretty good. All right, on to, I'll continue working on the other frame. Well, here we are. I got the one caster mounted. You'll see the other frame in the background is painted yellow. Got this frame all painted. This frame is, maybe I'll put another coat of paint on it. I don't know for sure whether it's worth it or not, but it's essentially done. For the most part, the main structure is done. There's a couple of little details that have to be touched up. That nut rather, that I mentioned earlier, I still haven't got nuts for it. But let's get the casters on. So I've got this one caster, which is not a non-locking caster, and I'm going to put locking casters on each of the other ones. So I'm going to grab a couple of those over here, and so these are locking casters right here, and I've got some grade 8 bolts in my pocket, and we're going to put these babies on. Earplugs in my pocket too. There we go, there's one. All right, let me get the other one done. And we'll have 2 end frames made. Looks pretty good, actually. Well, here we are. I've got the other end frame pretty much done. I forgot to mention about the lift cylinder that's going to go on here. I probably mentioned it earlier, but maybe I forgot that I mentioned it. There's a lift cylinder that goes underneath the pivot point. I have both of those. I've had them for a long time. Good thing I bought them when I did, because they've doubled in price. So let's get this baby down off the stand, and then we'll join them up, see what they look like. There, she's down. They're not super heavy, they're just awkward. And these sawhorses are a pain in the behind. Anyway, she's, there we are. Now I do have a little piece of 2.5 by 2.5. I'm going to join them together. What did I do with that thing? Now these had better line up. There we go. There. Oh yeah, the wheels are hitting. That's why it won't go together. So there she is. Yeah, the front, there we go. So what do you think of that, guys? Not bad looking. Can you even see it? I better go look. Oh, push her back some so you can actually see it. Oh, there's so much stuff here. All right, back in the view. How's that look? Just envision there's a Thunderbird in here. I've got a little model Thunderbird car. It's a die cast. I was going to hang it in here and then pretend that that was it, but that seems kind of lame. So this is what we got for now. Yeah. So what I'm thinking, I'll probably take off 1.5 feet or so of this stuff. I don't think I need it, but I don't need to do that right now. I can wait till this is all built and just lay it down and cut it. But yeah, there's the two end frames made, and I think they turned out pretty darn good. So anyway, I'm going to call it quits on this video. I still have to plan out that pivot point that goes in here that slides up and down with it. And we'll go from there. Anyway, thanks for watching. Everybody have a great remainder of your week. Have a safe weekend. And we'll catch you in the next one.